fog crawls across the desert floor like a living thing, hiding the shimmer of heat that lies in wait beneath. It is February 26, 1991, just before dawn. Somewhere in the Kuwaiti desert, the thrum of diesel engines pulses through the cold ground. Captain John Brady, commander of Delta Company, 3rd Armored Division, sits silently inside his M1A1 Abrams tank, nicknamed Thunderchild. His gloved hand rests on the throttle. Outside, sand lashes at the hull like a million stinging needles. He's thinking about home, about his daughter's 5th birthday, and wondering if she still sleeps with the nightlight he installed before deployment. Around him, the battle group begins to form up. The moment is near. Over the radio, the voice of Colonel Doan Holder cuts through static. All units, prepare to advance. This is it, gentlemen. Brady clicks the comms. Roger, Delta Company moving. His loader, Specialist Rivera, rubs nervous sweat from his brow. What are we walking into, Captain? Brady doesn't look back. A fortress of steel, he murmurs. In truth, the Iraqi Republican Guard's Medina Division lies entrenched with nearly 300 tanks T-72s, T-62s, and T-55s spread across miles of reinforced desert defenses. But they are not just numbers. Brady knows this. Each silhouette on thermal imaging conceals a frightened young man with orders and a weapon just like his own boys. The rumble of 300 tanks shakes the desert like thunder as the American armored spearhead begins its advance. Dust obscures the sky, and the sun casts a blood-orange hue on the horizon. The sheer scale is staggering. Vehicles weave into formation, massive Abrams tanks flanked by Bradleys and support units. The metallic scent of oil and cordite hangs in the air. Brady orders his gunner, Sergeant Kelly, to scan for targets. Through the gunner's sight, thermal silhouettes begin to dance. Vehicles, likely enemy, nested in revetments. A faint whir of turret motors replies, Iraqi gunners waking to the approaching storm. Contact front, Kelly calls out, voice tight. So-72, 1,000 meters. Brady's pulse spikes. Load sabot, he barks. Rivera slams the long, silver, armor-piercing round into the breech, his hands slick with adrenaline. With a brutal crack, Thunderchild recoils, and the round tears across the desert like a bolt of divine judgment. The T-72 explodes, fire blooming skyward. Rivera shouts with triumph, then goes silent, reminded instantly that they are far from safety. More targets appear. The radio chatters like a battlefield symphony, voices layering over the deafening roar of cannon fire. Explosions erupt across the desert. The Americans engage at standoff range, outmatching the older Soviet-era armor of the Iraqis. For Lieutenant Mahdi al-Karim, commander of one of the Medina Division's tank units, the world is different. Inside the cramped confines of his T-72, sweat beads his brow despite the cold metal around him. He is 32 with 3 children in Basra and a quiet yearning for books he will not read again. Fire, he commands as a pair of Bradleys crest a nearby dune. His gunner hesitates. The invaders are relentless. Mahdi feels his heart twist. He does not hate them, not truly. They are doing what soldiers must. His own round streaks into the sand, missing its mark. The reply is immediate and merciless. A tank to his left erupts, sending a shockwave through the line. Mahdi slams his fist against the hatch. He turns to his radio man. Tell command, we are being overwhelmed. Back on Thunderchild, Brady's crew moves like a machine. They've trained for this, drilled for this, but nothing matches the heat, the stink, the human cost. Multiple contacts. Right flank, Kelly calls. Brady shifts the turret, heart thumping like a war drum. Engage! Sand flares, rounds scream, and the air thickens with smoke. A nearby Abrams takes a hit non-penetrating, but enough to rattle. Brady shouts into the comms, Bravo Company, reinforce Sector Delta 3. The battlefield breathes, retracts, then lunges again. Iraqi infantry scatter under artillery strikes. Their positions shredded by pinpoint coordination and GPS-enhanced targeting, the U.S. forces press forward with relentless precision. Suddenly, a transmission cuts through the chaos. Friendly casualties. Red Lion platoon hit? Brady's jaw tightens. He recognizes the call sign. Damn it, get medevac. But there's no time to grieve. Another contact appears, Mahdi's tank, damaged but mobile, now barely clinging to survival. Mahdi sees Thunderchild and knows this may be his last act. "Charge him," he says quietly. His gunner looks at him, pale. "Commander?" Mahdi nods. The T-72 lurches forward. Inside Thunderchild, Rivera stiffens. "One's moving on us." Brady exhales slowly. "Kelly, make it count." The Abrams fires, the sabot round punching straight through the charging tank's glacis. Mahdi's last breath escapes as fire consumes his command. Brady doesn't see the wreckage. He has already turned toward the next threat. Hours pass. The battlefield cools but remains littered with twisted steel, shattered tracks, and burned-out husks. The sun now sits high, unforgiving. Brady exits Thunderchild, surveying the terrain. Smoke coils into the sky. A pair of medics drag a wounded soldier to safety. Somewhere, a bird cries, lost above the ruin. Brady kneels, fingering a spent shell casing, its metal warm from the fight. Around him, soldiers begin the grim task of counting, recording, retrieving. One tank crew digs through rubble to find the remains of their comrades. Rivera leans against the hull, eyes glazed. "Did we win?" he asks. Brady doesn't answer. Not yet. The battle concludes with staggering asymmetry. U.S. forces decimate the Medina division, more than 300 enemy tanks and armored vehicles destroyed with minimal American losses. The technology, training, and coordination had tilted the scale. But to Brady, Mahdi, Rivera, and thousands like them, the statistics are just numbers. "War isn't won by graphs," Brady tells a young reporter weeks later. "It's won by survival and by remembering who didn't." Voiceover narration drifts in, somber and steady. The Battle of 73 Easting, the last great tank battle of the 20th century, marked a turning point not just in military doctrine but in the lived reality of war itself. Real-time satellite intelligence, GPS integration, and advanced targeting redefined the field, but no algorithm could measure courage. No system could predict sacrifice. As night falls over the desert, the wind picks up once more. Sand wipes away the scars of battle, but not the memory. The camera lingers on Thunderchild, its massive turret silhouetted against the fading sun, as Rivera silently tapes a photo of his daughter inside the hull. There's still dust in the air, but now it feels like the breath of a world changed forever.